Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Hari Om to everybody. What is to be shared today? Pranam. No suggestions. What is to be shared today?
Devotees letters only.
Devotees letter.
Any emails?
Swami, one more doubt, Swami.
Doubt.
When chorus chanting is done, how to go for individual sadhana? That can you explain, Swami?
No, chorus chanting is necessary, but for individual sadhana, we have to do individually only. If we limit ourselves to this chorus chanting or congregational meet, it is not sufficient.
Not sufficient.
Unless and until we take it up individually. That means, with no other external support. Suppose we depend upon the external support, even unknowingly, that we will do Ramnam only when we are within among the devotees, we will never be able to reach what Papa he expects us to be. He wants us to remember him constantly. And constantly means always he will not be with others.
Yes.
We will be with we are to ourselves. So unless and until we train ourselves to remember him through chanting individually, right from the moment we get up till we retire to bed, as much as possible. Suppose we depend only upon this chorus, that is what we unknowingly, all of us thought. No, it is not.
We get more opportunity for chorus chanting only. Yes, naturally.
At that particular time, there is a joy, no doubt.
Yes.
But what happens to me after that? That matters a lot.
Got it.
So individual chanting should be given due importance to give a fillip, a push. This will definitely help. Because there, somebody who was advanced a little more than us, his influence will be there on the participants.
I just got it.
But we should not depend upon that. Individual chanting has to be undertaken. Need not be vocally, it can be silent, it can be mental, it can be vocal also. And Papa keeps on harping, even in his early days, we were going through a few portions of the passage to divinity, even before setting up this ashram, in Kasaragod there was an Anandashram. So while explaining about it, one of his Purvashram cousin, Mark Sanjeev Rao, when he comes, and if he, according to Chandrasekhar Rao's words, if Papa tried to talk to Sanjeev Rao about the impersonal aspect of God, he would vehemently protest and say, none of your Nirguna Brahman for me. It is simply beyond me. What I want to visualize God is as my Supreme Father, my friend, my guide, and I as a humble little child. That is why your inquest of God appears to me so much. There, how wonderfully God has guided you from moment to moment like a loving mother. But if Papa would tell him, this is very important for all of us, but if Papa would tell him that everyone on God path should at one stage or the other transcend the personal aspect of divinity and visualize him as the supreme immanent being pervading the entire universe and beyond it, Sanjeev Rao would not be convinced. So this Papa keeps on emphasizing it. So the Nirguna aspect, which Mataji says, after the 11th reading of Inquest of God, we will be unknowingly initiated into the process of moving toward the Nirguna Tattva. Because Nirguna Tattva is our original nature, the core of our being. It has been with us. Rest of the things are superimposed, That is the difference. Just like that superimposed means not to deceive ourselves. But actually when we try to go deep within to know our source, the thought can help us only to some extent. And the thought has to recede. So that is why Papa had given a lot of importance for the Nirguna aspect. But this Nirguna aspect need not be taken as a dry philosophy. The uniqueness of Papa's approach is it doesn't lead to a dry philosophy. Though Atman is Nirguna Nirakar, as soon as the sense of individuality comes up, The dualism is there, so then the bhakti comes. So it is not merely a dry philosophy. That is why he once put it in a beautiful way.
In Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says that in whichever form people worship me, I satisfy their need through that same form.
Sure.
It is possible only when he is beyond form. This is my submission.
Because any form means, if there is no particular form means, that itself is nirguna, no?
Yes, sorry.
Otherwise there will be only one form,
Very clear, very clear.
So the very fact that I am available to the devotee in the way in which, because he facilitates at every home, nowadays probably it may not be there, in good old days, there will be a puja room. Every day morning, the head of the family, or the mother, immediately after their bath, they go to the puja room, do pranams, assert the supremacy of that power through shlokas or prayer, and again in the evening it goes on. So by that time they would have developed an affinity towards a form. They would have visited, their elders would have told their experience with a particular deity. So that is how the Bhakti Bhav wells up in the heart through that form. And as we keep on moving, we understand that many people worship him in different forms. Is he in different forms? Yes, he is in different form because he is formless.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, Papa here says, Bhakti is the root, that is devotion. Vairagya is the trunk. Vairagya is the withdrawal from the outer to the inner. Jnana is the flower, feeling the presence of Atman within. Parabhakti is the fruit, that is feeling the whole universe, including us, pervaded by him only. So all these things are combined in Papa's approach. But bhakti is the root, because we start as a bhakta, we start as a sadhaka, seeker. So there is a sought after, there is a goal to be scaled. So the duality is there. So bhakta and Bhagavan, that is there. So first primary is that. And then comes this vairagya, otherwise withdrawal from the outer to the inner. Then jnana. He is the nameless, formless, immanent, transcendent being. And then parabhakti. Though he was not against any forms, he wants us that the risk involved, because we are not exclusively bhaktas. So today we develop affinity towards one deity, to another deity, to another deity, to another deity, and we don't get stabilized, unless and until we realize that all forms are the different facets of the same reality. So that is why during his sadhana days, Papa was exclusively concentrating on the Nirguna Nirakara aspect. While chanting the name, he was able to connect where from the sound comes. It is from the silence. It is from the stillness. It is from the absence of thoughts. It is that fullness. Like that, it is everywhere, everywhere. That is why he wanted in this ashram, no idol worship. He is not against. But his path was to get stabilized. Though he was also attached to the form of Lord Krishna in the beginning. And he was also enjoying it. But when the stage came for him to universalize his outlook, he was able to pray to him not to come in this form, but in the form of everybody. Otherwise, how can he say he is all-pervading? He was able to realize that he is all-pervading because many people go along with the form, certain people don't go along with the form, certain people don't recognize at all, but they are also forms of God. That universal vision, one can have only in this. That is why Papa was insisting about this. One day or other, that everyone on the God path should at one stage or the other transcend the personal aspect of divinity and visualize him as the supreme, immanent being pervading the entire universe and beyond it. Papa would also always say that the easiest path for a householder was the path of bhakti, that is taking the name, joining in devotional music and seeking the society of saints. Papa would repeatedly warn that the practice of pranayam was not at all meant for the householders. Speaking about tyag or renunciation, Papa would say that it would be more internal than external, and that to realize God it was not necessary to give up a householder's life. Living the life of a householder, but keeping the Lord in continuous remembrance and doing all one's action in a spirit of self-surrender was the supreme path for a family man. If somebody should pertinently ask why then he himself had chosen to give up family and home in quest of his God, pat would come Papa's. It is to get convinced and to tell you that it is really not necessary to leave one's home for realizing God. During these talks, Papa would quote the instances of the galaxy of householder saints of Maharashtra like Eknath, Tukaram, Namdev, others. Talking of self-surrender, Papa would quote the great example of Draupadi. When she was dragged to the court of Duryodhana to be shamed and disgraced, and when wicked Dusasana tried to pull away her sari, Draupadi put up a struggle to retain it and cried out at the same time to Lord Krishna to save her. But the Lord did not respond. When she found that she had appealed in vain, she felt quite helpless, threw up both her arms in utter resignation and supplication, and implored Lord Krishna to save her. Lord then immediately answered her prayers, hastened to her succor. Papa would say our surrender to the Lord should be complete and absolute, without any mental reservations. We should make His will our will, permit the Supreme Lord to mold our lives as He willed them to be, and not as we chose them to be. Then only we will discern God's hand in every happening in our lives.
Swamiji, when Mataji said that after the 11th reading, one can understand the impersonal aspect, does it mean that you understand the will of God? Because as Papa went to Tirupati, did not have darshan, did not feel bad about it, did not get Sri Aurobindo's darshan, did not feel bad about it.
No.
So, whatever he did, it was at the will of God. So, will we understand that after the 11th reading?
If you remember right, Mataji did not say that one will get the Nirguna Tattva. We will be initiated into the process of going near. Because our baggage is too heavy now. Think about it. So it is not that easy for us. But what she said was, to repeat her own words, I wanted you all to read it, In Quest of God, 11 times so that your mind would turn within to Nirguna Brahman. There is a special reason for Papa making me ask you to read In Quest of God daily forever. It is intended to take you within. You may not attain Papa within you on the 11th reading, but you will at least have started going within. It is like entering the ashram gate. Once you are within the gate, you have nothing to fear. Likewise, once you turn your gaze within, you have nothing to worry. So through these words, Mataji is giving us the importance of inward journey, you know. And she specifically says about the Nirguna Tattva.
But Swamiji, having come to Anandashram, having come to Papa, it is no more my baggage. He has taken care of my baggage, right?
Has he? That was
Otherwise, I will not be here. I will not be in this satsang.
Each one only knows whether the baggage has been completely given or for the time being it is offloaded and then immediately after the satsang or Ramnam, again it comes back to us. It is purely individual revelations only. One has to know. Actually, when the sadhana progresses, a stage comes when you realize that he has been with us, whose presence we have been craving for. So the moment we start feeling there is no baggage, agreed. The baggage is there so long as we retain our sense of individuality absolutely separate from him. Relatively separate from him we can understand, but this is absolutely separate from him. Because when we act, when we are on the stage to do a particular role, naturally, whatever is needed for that particular moment, it is necessary. But so it is relatively, the baggage will be there. But here, in our problem is absolute. Absolutely the baggage, it will go only when I know that he is within me. And then it is, the onus is on him to give me instructions as to what I should say, what I should talk, what I should do at every moment of my life. Then there is no baggage. That is why he said, spontaneity. Somewhere he mentions, that is the sign. Spontaneity. Spontaneity of life born of an egoless purity and innocence. Spontaneity of life born of an egoless purity and innocence, a consciousness of the indwelling and all-pervading reality, and a constant effort to see him in all, with an unconditional, cheerful acceptance of all situations as ordained by him, are the supreme note and refrain of the voice that rings through the whole text. Spontaneity. Then that means there is no baggage. He prompts, we act. He prompts, we think. He prompts, we talk. No suffix, no prefix.
Can we develop that, Swamiji?
Can we develop that?
We can
How
develop.
do we do that?
We can develop.
How do we do that? How do we do that?
During the chanting time, we try to dwell on these aspects. You are now making me to chant. You are there in the form of life force. You are there in the form of the sound. And you are there. That is why now we are in a position to chant. Like that we try. During the non-chanting time, we try to keep up the same thing. Just like we said while chanting, that you are making me to chant. You are making me to handle. I may fail, I may forget, I try again. Everything that, in the gross level we say that nothing is unimportant, nothing is insignificant, nothing is irrelevant. Everything will be handled with a touch of love, a touch of perfection, a touch of gratitude, a touch of dedication. All these are the words, synonyms through which we try to tutor the mind. Because it is his, it is his, it is his. That is why we don't say that it is insignificant. We may fail, we may forget, because we have not been used to it. But suppose we are very clear about the methodology, out of 100 we may be able to implement it for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, And every now and then we are checking up whether the mind is full, mind is free from grumblings and complaints. Every day we will know, nobody need to tell us how our performance is. Introspection and direct examination. Again, Papa says, introspection and direct examination of his own heart are essential for a man who wishes to make himself pure and thereby prepare himself for obtaining eternal peace and happiness, which his soul thirsts for. So introspection and direct examination of his own heart are essential for a man who wishes to make himself pure and thereby prepare himself for obtaining eternal peace and happiness which his soul thirsts for. Let the torch of criticism aimed at others be directed against oneself. Let the pride with which one is obsessed be laid in the dust. Next line is very, very important. Let him know where he stands. Meaning, whether he stands at the individual base or at the universal level. The me and mine or the me to be. No? Let him know where he stands, what he is, what his inner cravings are, what is the disease that has seized his soul, what are the impurities lurking in his mind, what is the great obstacle that stands between him and the immortal bliss and peace, what are the bonds that keep him tied down to the low levels of life and prevent him from soaring into the heaven of his real life and being, when he has thus, by deep reflection, discovered what he is, he can, through prayer, self-discipline, company of great souls, and acts of love and compassion, get rid of all impediments, mental obsessions, nay, darkness that envelops his soul, and realize the splendor, power, peace, joy of the great truth that dwells within him. This particular reading, here our heart wells up with gratitude for him who motivated his devotees to collect these portions from different letters written by Papa, culled out and brought it out in the form of hints to aspirants. Just imagine. This very act, we are reading a portion of Papa's word. Where from we got? First of all, the Lord made him to write a letter to a disciple. Okay, it's all right. Devotee. Many decades ago. At the same time, for the sake of posterity, for the sake of reading it today, we will take it like that. He prompted a group of devotees many decades ago to collect these letters from different devotees and then to compile them. When there was no computer, everything has to be typed out. And then gave it to us as if it is given to us on a platter. The moment this question comes, he puts the questions through somebody. He provides the answer through his own words. And for that he has facilitated so many things. We should not just read his portion and then go. We find the metabolism, that takes place behind it. How he did that? We are now reading it, these pearls of wisdom. So he is there to guide us. Introspection and direct examination of his own heart are essential for a man. When the question came, is it possible for us? Papa assures it is possible. And drawbacks, failures, slips, everything are natural for us. Because we are not full-timers. In the sense, we are not always trying to dwell on God remembrance. Most of our time is on me and mine only, and the vyavahara attached to it. So naturally we will fail or forget, there will be slips. In spite of vigilance, in spite of this thing. So here he says, introspection and direct examination of his own heart are essential for a man who wishes to make himself pure and thereby prepare himself for obtaining eternal peace and happiness, which his soul thirsts for. Let the truth torch of let him know where he stands, what he is, what his inner cravings are, what is the disease that has seized his soul, what are the impurities lurking in his mind, what is the great obstacle that stands between him and the immortal bliss and peace, what are the bonds that keep him tied down to the low levels of life and prevent him from soaring into the heaven of his real life and being, the eternal truth. When he has thus by deep reflection, these are all inward journey only. When Mataji said the 11th reading will induce us, will promote us, will encourage us, will initiate us for the inward journey, kindly think about it. How do we do the inward journey? This is the inward journey, introspection. Parading before our mental vision what all we have gone through, what all we have thought, what all we have acted, how we have reacted to events and individuals. So that is very keen. When he has, thus by deep reflection, discovered what he is, that is the baggage. He can, through prayer, self-discipline, company of great souls, and acts of love and compassion, get rid of all impediments, mental obsessions, nay, darkness that develops his soul, and realize the splendor, power, peace, joy of the great truth that dwells within him. So this assurance is there, no? Prayer, self-discipline, company of great souls, Satsang, and acts of love and compassion. Inner and outer level, both. Is that clear?
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes. No doubt, sir. Quite clear, sir.
Yeah. So inward journey means now we have got some more clarity, you know. Whenever God permits us to sit quiet.
But Swamiji, is it possible to dive deep within the ocean, that too in the midst?
Is it possible to dive deep?
Within the ocean.
In the midst of
And come out successfully?
Yeah, we must, you know, pray to Him intensely to give us. Somebody told Papa, we are all householders, we are all professionals, we don't have time. Then immediately Papa said, it is not that throughout the time you are working. There will be gaps. It might be for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. In that gap you can try to bring in this dimension. Because we have time for everything, you know. Initially we, as children, you know, we were told to bow before Him, to pray to Him in the morning and evening. Unfortunately, we took it as a compartmentalized activity. Morning and evening we think about God, rest of the things we don't think about God. We were studying or working or something, you know. So there was a big gap. And later on this gap started influencing even our morning and evening period. Hardly any time. So we have to devise some other method. That method is to try to remember Him even during the so-called engaged time. Each one has to try and develop, that's all. And the mission of spiritual institution like Anandashram is to know about all these things, you know. Because when people visit here, they are free from their routine thoughts, routine involvements, routine duties. So they have got ample time. So there they can coolly sit. Nobody is there to disturb. We don't have to attend to any household activities. Lot of free time. One lawyer was telling us, many years ago, Acha, you go often to ashram. You find some job there, but when we go there, we don't have any job. How to spend the time there? We said it is not that we are getting into any activities there. We just wanted a break from our routine so that our routine life will become more blissful. How to apply the standard of bliss, the standard of contentment, the standard of efficiency in our work field. This I can do it only when I am away from the field. So a visit to ashram definitely helps us to watch and to refine ourselves and to make more. Everybody will not be able to spend a lot of time in the ashram. But during the short time they spend, whether it is 1 week or 2 weeks or 2 days or 1 day, if this idea is very clear, they will be able to really take out the real benefit from the ashram visit. How to find time during my involvement, professional involvement, household involvement, social involvement. I will not be able to sit and do that because one after another, the engagement comes. But when I am away from the field, when I am free from the routine, I can sit and when I start practicing the mental chanting here, I will be able to continue the mental chanting there. So the real purpose of visit to ashram is not for a holiday, not for anything else, positive diversion. It is only to, just like we go for some orientation, we are trying to find out a technique by ourselves. We need a lot of time, free from our routine compulsions. But nowadays that routine compulsion may not, because everybody is carrying the mobile. And through mobile, Maya enters.
Yes.
When we want to be away from the clutches of Maya, so when we come here, we take to some vows, self-discipline. That today I will not answer. Today I will reduce my food. Today I will not talk during this period. Today I will concentrate on doing this much mala silently. Today I will complete one portion from the speaks, glimpses, something like that. Today I will dwell upon this particular chapter in Quest of God. All these things are possible only when we are in ashram. And these are all the ways by which we try to go inward. This self-discipline word, we should give importance for that. He can, through prayer, self-discipline, company of great souls, acts of love and compassion, get rid of all impediments and mental obsessions. And here we can deny many things for ourselves. There probably in our field we may not be able to. Comfort zones. So today's message Papa gives us is concentrate more and more on this introspection and direct examination of one's own heart.
Yes, Swami. Thank you.
And when we have understood, when we have taken the inventory, we try to employ these 4 tools: self-discipline, prayer, Satsang, and acts of love and compassion. Me to him inward, me to him outward. No? And God will give us opportunities. He will provide us with opportunities for love and compassion. So let us all try to imbibe this. That is the powerful message He gives us today. Again we remember with gratitude devotees who were prompted to undertake this wonderful journey of drafting out this small book called Hints to Aspirants. It is not a big text. Glimpses of divine vision, thus speaks Ramdas, sayings of Ramdas, hints to aspirants. These 4 books, small in size, but it is the ready reckoner. Anytime we need any answer, just open it. Oh, this is what I should do. I may forget again. So let us keep these 4 books, try to go through these as much as possible, and then reflection. It should not become academic. That is why he said direct examination of one's own heart, so that it doesn't stay at the academic level, knowledge level. Introspection and direct examination of one's own heart. So let us all pray to Him who prompted us to dwell on these sublime, profound ideas today, to make it a reality. And this we should be very careful that it need not be known to anybody. It should silently take place amidst all our activities.
Activities of compulsion.
Anything. But let it be an internal affair. Purely an internal affair.
Sure.
Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. Namaskaram, namaskaram. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam, pranam.